Hola mi gente, ¿cómo está? Y bienvenidos a otro video mío aquí en mi canal. En este video voy a hablar con ustedes acerca de algunas cositas que hago para aprender español y mejorar el nivel que tengo. Pero primero, si no me conoces, mi nombre es Cristina and I've been learning Spanish por mi cuenta, that means on my own, for 4 years now, okay? And here on my channel, I like to talk about how I did it, how I do it, and how you can too. So if you're ready to start your bilingual journey or follow me on Minds, then please make sure you hit that subscribe button and let's dive in. Okay, so learning Spanish as an adult, okay, is for me not any different than learning Spanish at at any age. Honestly, it's really about finding what works for you. And when I decided all of 2 weeks ago that I was going to start relearning Spanish after a very long break, I knew already what had worked for me in the past, and I went back to that. Books, okay? Now, I absolutely swear by books. I'm a grammar nerd. I love to learn with books. And these books in particular, this Practice Makes Perfect series, I've got so many of these from Amazon. They have them in all different kinds of languages, but of course, all mine are in Spanish. And the one I knew I was going to start with when I decided to get back into learning Spanish was the Spanish pronouns and prepositions, okay? Now, I know a lot of people are thinking, how on earth is something like prepositions and pronouns going to help me actually speak Spanish? And te digo que this, like the small details, these are the ones that help you level up your Spanish so much, okay? Cuando hablo con personas, con nativos, okay, en español, siempre me dicen, oye, ¿cómo aprendiste español? Porque tú hablas casi como nativa. And it is because I spent so much time learning the grammar. Now, is that a good first step? No. Did I do that first? No, but that's for a different video. I will tell you what I do in this phase of my language journey though, and that is I start here, okay? This is where I get all my new concepts from, and typically all I do is I crack this book open wherever I'm going to start. I think right now I'm on like chapter 13, and I start to read. Now, these books, like many Spanish books, have a summary of the concept that you're going to be learning, and I go through that, I highlight it, I make notes in my cuaderno if there's anything that I think I need to revisit or spend a little bit more time on, or research in, YouTube or other like websites for clarity. And once that is out of the way, I move into the workbook side of things and I start going through the exercises. Now, I am not someone who has a quota to fill, okay? I'm not trying to do 20 pages a day, 30 chapters a week or anything like that. It's really just whatever I can consume for that day is a win, even if it's just one exercise, okay? And typically, like one exercise in the book is about 10 to 15 different like sentences, and I will go through those. I'll try and fill them out as best as I can, read through them. Then I'll head on over to the back of the book and get the answer key so that I can grade myself. Now, once I am all graded and I know where I stand, I'll either spend some more time on those same exercises to understand what my mistakes were, or I will move on into the next one. At that point, that is enough. That is a good day for me. As far as, writing and learning new concepts. Now, speaking is a whole different ballpark, but I use the same resource to practice my speaking. Now, some people think that if you don't have a Spanish speaking friend to talk to, then you can't improve your speaking skills. Pero no es así. Porque yo tengo una amiga de la República Dominicana y sí, ella habla español, pero tiene su propia vida y siempre está ocupadísima, ¿ok? Así que no puedo llamarla siempre y digo, oh, ¿me puedes ayudar con mi español porque necesito practicar hablando o escuchando o algo así? No, no va a funcionar, ¿ok? So I had to get creative. And the way that I practice my listening skills is by going through the exercises that I completed for the day and I read them and I read them again and I read them some more until they start to just roll off the tongue, because at first Spanish can be a little choppy when you're learning something for the first time. Any language, honestly. It can sound like, mi nombre es Cristina y tengo. You have to think about it a little bit too much. And I aim to speak Spanish without all the pauses and the thinking space. So I read these verbatim from the book, and then I try to read them without looking at it. And if you think that that is not a skill, I dare you to try it, okay? Because it is a beast. But once I can kind of rehearse a few sentences off the top of my head without looking at anything, once I feel like I have a grasp of how to use whatever concept it is that I have learned, then I move on to the cherry on top of a good day, okay? Um, well, actually, no. Actually, I I spend a lot of time talking to myself, hablando por mí misma, until my son comes in. Usually, when he knocks on the door and is like, "Mom, are you talking to somebody?" That's about when I feel embarrassed enough to say, "Oh no, I was just practicing, but I'm done now." I can do this for quite a while. I can do it for 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour and a half, and it feels like it goes by like that. But usually when he comes in and asks me that, if I'm talking to somebody, then I go into my favorite part of the day. Comprehensible input. Okay, that is getting to practice my listening skills, my comprehension skills. And I do that con una telenovela colombiana más conocida por todo Latinoamérica llamada Betty la Fea. A mí me encanta Betty la Fea, okay? I love this series. Now, I forget how I came across it, but I am so glad that I did. Now, there are times where I might say, I don't really have that much time to go into the workbook and do the exercises. Like, I don't have the time for that. But I can easily, you know, consume 2, 3, 7 episodes of Betty La Fea and not feel any guilt about it. I love this series. It is the Spanish equivalent of The Office, pero con mujeres, okay? And it's a little bit dated, so I will say it's an acquired taste, but para mí es suficiente. I will watch a few episodes of Betty La Fea, and I don't watch deliberately with the intention to learn something, but to just enjoy what is being presented to me and whatever I can catch. Now, there are times where I'm like, what word was that? And I go and look it up, and the next thing you know, I've added to my vocabulary. But generally, that is my whole day in a nutshell as far as studying. And it can take me as little as 30 minutes. It can take me as much as, 2, 3 hours. It really just depends on how much time I have to spare. But as an adult learner of Spanish, that is a typical day of studying for me. So if you found this video helpful, if you have questions, recomendaciones, o cualquier cosa que quieres decirme, let me know in the comments. Again, make sure you subscribe. Thank you guys so much for watching y te veo en el siguiente video. Adiós. Él se la canta, se lo decimos, se lo... se los compras, se lo escribo, él se los envía, se lo digo, él se la vende, se las das, nadie se lo dice. ¿Por qué se lo dices?